Alright, welcome to this video. So what we're doing this year is Utme biology. So and it is 2014. So in this video we're going to be going through some topics. We have some syllabus that some topics we couldn't cover because of our time and because Utme is a little bit so close. So because of that, I'm going to be going through some overview of some topics as well as some past questions on Utme biology 2014. So let's start. So the first question here is the paper type. All these ones, they are not really relevant. So the paper type that year was actually type L. So that will be the answer for the first one. So that is option C. So it doesn't matter. So they don't ask question like that in normal UT. That was when we use PPT. They use PPT. So the second question here says you should use this diagram to answer the question. To answer number 2 and 3. So they said the path level 2 is now this path level 2 is a point, the diagram is not really showing it very well. It's a path that is like surrounded with dots. Now what's that path? I thought you would play now, right? So you'll be able to give me the answer for that part. That part that is surrounded with dots, this place is surrounded with dots. So which path is that? So that part is actually the what? Yeah, what's the answer? So that part is the contractile barcode, right? So it's not the eye spot. The eye spot is around this place, right? So this is the eye spot. Why this is the flagella, right? This number 3 is the chloroplast, in case you forgot. So chloroplast. So this is actually the what? Contractile barcode. So that's what they're asking option. That's why they said label 2. So that's the option D. So that's the part L2. So now they said the part responsible for photosynthesis, and most of you already know that it is the chloroplast that function in photosynthesis. I told you number 3 is what? Is the chloroplast. So that will be your answer. That's number 3. Now what do you think is this number 4? Number 4 is, I think, the dots in this place. So the dots is actually paramylon granule. That dots, all those dots that you are seeing, is paramylon granule, right? So that's just it, by the way. I think this I've already explained. This is the eye spots. This is the eye spots. This place is the gullets. This place where the tail they join is gullets. This is the eye spots. So all those things, labeling is very important. Just take one and study the diagram in your textbook. The question will come out in one diagram at least, and you may not see anyone. So it depends. It's a game of chance. The lowest level of organization is living organism is, I told you, we have cell, we have the tissue, then after the tissue we have the organ, then after the organ we have system, right? So the lowest level is the cell. So that's our answer. So which of the following is the most complex according to their cellular level? So it means we are still talking about all this organization of life. You said we have cell, we have tissue, we have organ, and we have system. Now which one do you think would be the lowest level? That is the most complex. So look at heart now. Heart is actually an organ. Ear, you can also say ear is an organ, maybe. So it depends. Or we can say it's a tissue. So it depends. So let me see other things. So this one is actually a cell. Hydra is a tissue. So it's actually a tissue. So which one do you think is the most complex? So it's actually the heart. So I think the hair should be a tissue. I'm not sure the hair is an organ. It should be a tissue. So the answer is just that, the one that is most complex. So what do you think is most complex according to their cellular level of organization? So which one do you think would be the most complex? So here is system or organ, because heart is an organ, and ear now, I think it should be around a tissue. So I told you some things that we are looking for, the one that is highest in the level, that is most complex. That's what we are looking. We are not looking for the one with basic. Do you get? So that's what we are looking for. We are not looking for something that is. So here is actually a tissue, right? Why the heart is an organ? So the answer will be the most complex. So the answer will be heart, because heart is more complex than the ear. I think you get what I'm saying. So that will be your answer. So that's why you have to be grounded. So that question is a little bit simple, but you're not so careful. So look at this now. Which of the following organ will be for the attachments? So it's actually this one and two. So this is actually a table, right? So it's table. So the answer will be 1 and 2. So that would be what it will use to attach. So the next one, the organ, the young proboscis is represented by, so it's actually 4. It's represented by 4. So this one, this is actually young proboscis. So it's just like the tail, like the tail of the tapeworm, right? So that's just it. So that's young proboscis, that's the 4. And for this one, I need to tell you the labeling. What are they? The labeling that is there. So I need to teach you what the labelings are. So I will try to, I told you this video is just like an explanatory video. So yes, so this is the hook. This place is the hook, right? Why this one on the top is actually what the rostellium, right? Why this one is the sucker. Now in this thing, so I made a mistake. The answer is not 1 and 2. The answer is 2 and 3. So it is actually the hook and sucker that performs it. This rostellium is not evolved in what? So it is this hook that we use to attach to the intestine, right? But it is this sucker that we will be using to suck food from the intestine. So both of them are working together. So that's why we're going 2 and 3, number 6. And that's why you see me trying to hold on a little bit, because I know that may not likely be the answer. So that's the hook. So we have the young proboscis. So that's it. So now let's look at the one. So which of the following is multicellular? So amoeba is unicellular. Chlamydomonas is unicellular. Euglena, although it can behave like an animal cell, it's actually unicellular. But the only one that is multicellular is Spirogyra, because it actually forms filaments. The cells are joined end together, end to end. So the answer is Spirogyra. It's multicellular. So in bryophytes, sex organs are produced in what? In bryophytes. So where are the sex organs produced? In the bryophytes. So please take note of that. I'll just let me try to make some. This video is just like explanatory. So the ones that I know that I did not really teach you very well, I'll just try to rush over them. So bryophytes, you already know that it's actually it is what? It's a multicellular green plant, right? So I taught you that in classification of living things. Yes. So we talk about plants, talk about animals. So bryophytes, they are sex organs. Where are they born? And also you should know that bryophytes, they are non-vascular plants. Take note of that. So some bryophytes, they are terrestrial, while some of them are aquatic. Please, these are things that you need to read. So in bryophytes, where are the sex organs reduced? The answer is between the sporophytes and the gametophytes. So what's the answer? Is it the sporophytes or the gametophytes? You know that we also have tracheophyta. Tracheophyta is divided into two, and that is pteridophyta and spermatophyta. That's not what we are doing basically, right? So now the sex organs in the bryophyte is actually borne by the gametophyte. So take note of that. If they ask you where are the sex organs produced in bryophyte, it is actually the gametophyte. So the seed plants are the most dominant vegetation on land because of what? Their ability to, their motile gametes, their ability to photosynthesize, the efficient seed dispersal, and the availability of water. What do you think will be the answer? So, and also we did not do what we call seed disperser too. So let me try if I can just try to explain that to you too in the brief time that I have, because those aspects also is so important. Let me try to just brush it up to the topic that normally come out. So seed disperser. So what's the meaning of disperser? Disperser actually means is defined as transfer of a seed or fruit from the parent plants to other places where the seed may germinate, right? So you know there are some plants, you just notice that the seed is pouring out from those plants, right? They are just dispersing. There are some trees. If I guide the person that you go to some trees, you see some part of that trees, the fruits will be coming down, will be falling down. Some of the seeds of that tree will be falling down, or that flower will be falling down. So that's disperser. So what's the importance of disperser of fruits? So the disperser of fruits and seeds, they have the following importance or advantage. So it helps to prevent overcrowding. So seed disperser, so it helps to prevent overcrowding. That is, it will not let plants to be crowded on one place. So it prevents overcrowding. It also prevents undesirable competition for space, light, water, and nutrients. I will not be able to write them. It also helps to prevent diseases from spreading among plant species. It also results in colonization of new areas with new plants. Now, what are the agents of disperser? So we have different agents of disperser. And what are those agents of disperser? Right? We can have wind. Wind is an agent of disperser. Animals, even human beings, an agent of disperser. You can go to a mango tree now and remove the fruits and pour the seed of that mango and throw it down. That's disperser. So some of you can go into the bush, and while you are walking in that bush, some of the seed of that bush of those trees will falling on your body. So those are disperser. So explosive mechanisms too. So it's also a disperser. So let me try to explain some of the things on agents of disperser. So agents of disperser of seeds, they refer to any means by which seeds and fruits are removed from parent plants. So agent of disperser, that is the seeds and fruit, the wind, animals, water, human, explosive mechanism. Now wind, what are the examples of, so what are the characteristics of plants that wind can disperse? So it means that grass is light before wind can be able to drive it away. And also the fruits or seeds of that thing, it has what we call the something like cobrentum, like plant like cobrentum, that is a wing, it has wing. So because before you can say wing is the explosive, is the disperser, the agent of disperser, so it must have wing. So it can also be cotton seeds, also cotton seed also, so it also help it. And also triders. So triders, I will not be able to write it. Triders is TRI. So triders and emilia, which may have parachutes like tufts or pappus. So such fruit, they float in air for a long time before landing on the ground. So example of fruit dispersed by wind are showed. So triders, cotton seed, combrentum. So those are the plants that wind can disperse. So let's go to animals. So animals, they disperse on plants, so they have some special features. So the fruits of those or seeds, like the desmodium, they may have hooks or ears by means of which they adhere to the ears of animals. I don't know if you have went to some bush and you notice that after leaving that bush, you notice that some things like some stones they are in your clothes. So those are, so in one way or the other you have been a disperser. So the fruits are also edible, and the seeds, they pass through the alimentary canal undigested. So this is passed out with feces and germinates. Example is pepper now. Pepper, guava seeds eaten by birds. So we said the fruits are edible for things that they are dispersed by animals. The fruit or seed sticks to the beak of a bird or hip of an animal. So when rubbed off immediately, and also the seed germinates like misuto now. So let's go to water. The things that water can disperse. So the fruits or seeds, they are light, they can float on water. The fruits have waterproof epicap, which prevents it from imbibing water, so that they can remain afloat. Like example of such thing is coconuts. So the fruits, they have fibrous mesocap trapping air, which enable it to remain afloat. The same thing coconut again. So water mechanism is actually used in plants like coconuts. So the fruits or seeds can remain afloat for a long time until they are washed ashore where they germinate. So coconut again. So now we have woman. Features that aid fruits or seed dispersal by woman. Now fruits are eaten by a man. For example, mango now. I think we are in mango season. There are some of you that will be going to mango tree. You will be removing the seed and you'll be throwing that seed down, right? So that's agent of dispersal. Apple, orange, palm nuts. So the fruit or seed may be collected and planted deliberately, either for commercial or private purpose. You know, there are some people that will go to mango tree, that seeds, they will plant it deliberately. That's also seed dispersal. Now, the explosive mechanism, I think they asked it one year like that. So features that aid fruit or seed dispersal by explosive mechanism are, so there will be presence of one or more lines of weakness or fusion of carpels. So when the pericarp dries up, it contracts. So and pressure and tension build up within the fruit as a result of uneven drying up of pericarp to split along the lines of fusion or carpels. So the splitting of such a fruit is called what? Explosive mechanism. So this explosive mechanism, what we are trying to say basically is it has to do with a fruit that they can split, right? They can split open. So the splitting and thrusting of the pericarp disperse the seeds from the parent plant. Such plant that we use explosive mechanism for is plants like oil bean. Some plants like para rubber, pride of Barbados. So things that can split open. Something like flamboyant, right? Something like balsam and crotalaria. So those are the ones that they can, those are the plants. They can just ask you which are the examples can be they can be dispersed using explosive mechanism. So don't forget woman, it has to do with the ones that, so the for that of water, it has to do with coconuts. So coconuts mainly. So for human beings, all those fruits that you normally eat, apple, mango, orange, that you can go to the tree and plant and get them. So something that is very sweet that you can go there. So now the extensive dispersal are the most dominant vegetation on land because of what? Efficient seed dispersal. So that's the reason. Because you can easily take their seed and disperse them to another place, and when they are dispersed to another place, it can quickly grow. So that's the reason. So which of the following is an arboreal habitat in organism? You know I taught you this under ecology. That organism, they are the organisms that jump from one place to another. So which of the following can jump? So birds now, they jump, right? So what do you think will be your answer? Elephants? Is it elephants? Is it fish? Is it antelope? Is it a bird? So it is a bird. I told you something that jump from one place to another. So now, sorry, this diagram is not there. Oh, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I will have to sort for the image online. Oh my god, the image is not there. Oh, sorry, this is what they want to draw, so I will try to draw it using my. So this is it. So you have, at least I will not be able to draw it so well. I'll just try my best. Just try to draw it so well. So this is it. So you look at it. So all these ones now they are. So I'm just sketching it too. It's not like I just want to try my best. So please, this one is centrally placed though. I just like show it again. So let me try to look for a better image. So this is what we are seeing. Let's try to rub this. So here we have something like this, something like this, something like this. So something like this too. So I just try to sketch it. So now they now ask us that what is this place? So that's what they ask us. This place also is there. So this is I don't. It's not really like this, but I just try to just sketch it. So they said the part labeled I is what? You can see that this one is like. You can see that this is like a stem. This is like a root, right? So you can see that this is the root here. You can see this is the root here. If you are a person that you study diagram very well, so this is the root. Yes. So that's just the answer. I think you get. So that's just the answer. Now they now ask you that this diagram is this transfer section of what? So the answer is actually is the transfer section of or what? Of dicotyledonous roots. So that's the transfer section of dicotyledonous roots. So please study the diagram very well. Please, they can ask diagram in any way, right? So what is this number 4 now? This number 4 that I draw, these dots, it is the phloem. So this is the xylem. So this number 2 now, what is that one? That's your cortex. So and I do so on and so forth. I think you get something like that. So that's just how they ask it. So this one now will be your pulverous layer. So I'm sorry, I just have to write it in that place. So that's just some of the labelings I should know. This also is endodermis. So you write it together just because of space. So the general formula above represents that of what you can see is not equal. We have two incisors up, one incisors below. It has no canning. Now look at it. You know this is actually dental formula, and I taught you. So you cannot say I don't teach you. This is dental formula. I taught you. So I told you when something doesn't have canine, it's actually an herbivorous animal. So it's an herbivore. So it means the answer is a herbivore. So that's just the answer. Simple as ABC. So all these things are not something you should be panicking about. So a circulatory system is very essential. Though we did circulatory system, but most of you may not be able to watch that video because the space was so large. The video I sent was so large. I think like 300 MB or 200 MB. So circulatory system. Why do we do circulatory system? Circulatory system is very essential in mammals, but not in smaller organisms like amoeba. Now this is it. Amoeba can carry diffusion. Diffusion is enough for amoeba to circulate nutrients around its body. But diffusion is not enough in we human beings now. Diffusion is not enough. Why? Because our body is way complex than the body of the amoeba. So now what's the answer? So amoeba, but not in smaller organisms like amoeba, because amoeba lives in fresh water. B, diffusion is sufficient to transform materials in amoeba. So this is the answer, because simple diffusion is enough for amoeba to circulate materials among it. But in reverse is the case in terms of human beings. We have to use circulatory system because our body is so complex. Amoeba only has one cell, that is amoeba is just unicellular, so that's not enough for amoeba to diffusion is enough for amoeba to survive. But we humans we have millions of cells. If you know the number of cells in kidney alone, kidney contains 3 million nephrons. So you cannot compare us with amoeba with only one cell. So that's why we go for option B. So in vascular plants, sieve tubes and companion cells. In vascular plants, the sieve tubes and companion cells are present where? In vascular plants, the sieve tubes and companion cells, they are present where? Are they in the cardium? Are they in the cortex? Are they in the xylem? Are they in the phloem? So what's the answer? Oh yeah, the sieve tubes and the companion cells. So what are present in the cambium? What are they? Where are they present? So you're able to say that. So vascular plants, what do we mean by vascular plants? Plant that have all those xylem and phloem, and we have vascular plants and non-vascular plants. So you need to know that too. So here was the answer. Is it? I want you, though this is not a live video, but I want you to be able to know the answer. So in vascular plants, the sieve tubes and the companion cells, where are they present? So they are present in the phloem. So that's the answer. They are present in the phloem. That's where we have them. So not really phloem like that. It's just phloem tissues. Phloem tissues. Okay. The next one, the stomata of leaves. I told you somehow that you can use it as respiration. I told you as in the plants, they don't have specific respiratory organ, but stomata actually perform that function, including the excretory function too. So it can perform as the excretory, it can function as respiratory. So now what they're asking us to find now is which of the following will function as respiratory, that will function as respiratory organ, just like leaf. So the stomata of leaves are similar in function to the A. Pharynx of humans, B. Scales of fish, C. Spiracle of insects, D. Trachea of toads. If you look at all the answers they've given here, you see that all of them are like contrary. Like all of them, they are like the pharynx. Now, when I was teaching you, I only talk about lungs as your respiratory organ. Under fish, I talk about gills as a respiratory organ. Under insect, I talk about trachea as a respiratory organ. Under toad, I talk about tongue, mouth, and skin as a respiratory organ. But you look at what they're asking you now. Now, the reason why they're asking you this now is that stomata is like an opening in the leaves, right? Now, spiracle of insects also. I told you spiracle is not the respiratory organ in insects, but spiracle is just like an opening in the body of the what? In the thorax of the insects. So now it means stomata is an opening, spiracle also is an opening. So it means both of them are a what? Are going together. So it means the stomata of leaves, although stomata of leaves can be used for respiration, right? So stomata of leaves now will now function like similar to what? To the spiracle, because spiracle is also an opening. I think you guys get it, because if you want to say they are a respiratory organ, you will notice that pharynx is not really the one I gave you as respiratory organ. So the answer will be what? Spiracle of insects, option C. Now you can see what I told you now. Amphibians, that's his toad. I told you that toad can use mouth, which is also called buccal respiration. I explained this for you. I teach you this. If I don't teach you everything, I teach you this. I taught even this one too. I taught you. So skin is cutaneous respiration. So and then we have the lung respiration. I think we have gills too. So the use of moist skin for respiration in amphibians is what? That's cutaneous respiration. Buccal is that of mouth. Pulmonary is what? Lung respiration. Cutaneous is skin, use of moist skin. And cellular respiration is not even applicable. I taught you the meaning of cellular respiration, so don't say I don't teach you. So water in plants is removed as water vapor through the process of. So how do we remove water from plants? So it's actually transpiration. I taught you that too. Transpiration is the process whereby water is removed from the plants, from the surface of the leaves of the plant through water vapor. So an example of an organ of perennation in plants is, so what's an example of organ of perennation of plants? So the first thing you need to ask yourself is, what's the meaning of perennation? That's the first thing you need to firstly ask yourself. So what's the meaning of perennation? So perennation actually refers to the process by which plants survive from one year to the next, or one growing season to another, especially during unfavorable conditions like winter or droughts. Now they're now asking us that an example of an organ of respiration and perennation in plants. So what is that answer? So which organ? Is it the rhizome? Is it the seed? Is it the petal of a flower? Is it the calyx? Is it the calyx of flower? Don't forget, when I was teaching you, I told you petal, and I think petal and calyx. Okay, maybe petal or corolla. I told you they are not essential parts of flowers because they are not involved in fertilization. Flowers can still reproduce without the what? The petals, because they are not essential parts. It's not that they are not important too, but they are only for attracting insects for pollination or other agents of pollination, right? they are not really so essential. So the organ for pollination that help plants to survive from one season to another is rhizome, not petal, not calyx, not seed. So it is actually rhizome. Now alternation of generation is a feature of, so which of the following actually undergoes alternation of generation? Is it okay? Alternation of generation or alteration of generation, whatever. Alternation of generation is a feature of what? Is it okay? Is a feature shown in? Is a feature shown in A. Mosses. Is it mosses? Is it mosses or whatever? Is it the fungi? Is it the grasses? Is it the conifers? So what's the answer? So alternation of generation. So the answer is mosses. So mosses are the one that they have the feature of alternation of generation. So number 22. This is a question. So growth is mainly apical. So they say which of the following correctly describes the growth pattern in plants. So I taught you growth too. So it's not something, anything I teach you, I will not talk much about them again. What I've taught you. So growth I've taught you. So growth is mainly apical. So which of the following above correctly describes the growth pattern in plants? So to number 22, growth is mainly apical. Growth is specific with definite shape. Growth is throughout life. You know, I told you this, that plants will continue to grow throughout their life, but that thing is not applicable for what? For animals. After some times, I told you females between 17 to 18 years they will not grow taller again, while males maybe 20 to 21 years they will not grow taller again, right? So it's just normal thing, because in animals our growth is actually limited. But you can see a plant growing for years and it will still keep growing. So it will still keep growing. But for animals, the growth is actually limited. So it means number 3 is actually very right. Right? And there is something about growth in plants. The growth in plants is, can I say it is specific? It's not really specific. It's indefinite. It can just be growing anyhow. It's not really definite. And also they said growth is mainly apical. Is growth apical? Are you so sure that growth is apical? Is it apical? Now what do we mean by apical? That's what you need to ask yourself. So of course the growth in plants is apical. So it is what? It is apical. But what do we mean by apical? So apical growth is a type of plant growth that occurs at the tips of the roots and shoots, leading to primary growth and increased length. So that's just it. So please let me try to give you some things, some tips in that aspect too, because there's a lot to learn in that aspect. Because I don't want to just be teaching you blah blah blah, because there are some things that you ought to know. So growth in plants is what? Is throughout life. Now it has what? Indefinite number of parts, right? Indefinite number of parts. So it is mainly restricted to a place. So that is the growing regions and body parts, right? So the answer is 1 and 3, because growth is not specific, right? With definite shape, it's not specific. But growth is what? Mainly apical, right? And growth is throughout life. So that's why we go to option D. So coordination and regulation of body activities in mammals are achieved by. So what are those things that, you know, I taught you nervous system. I told you that the things that controls the body homeostasis is what? The nervous system and the endocrine system. Now, endocrine system, they deal with production of hormones, they regulate hormones, they do everything. Nervous system, they have to do with nerves. So now they now say coordination and regulation of body activities in mammals are achieved by. So the answer is nerves and hormones. So because those ones, they are working together. I even give you difference for both of them. Now the cerebellum of the brain. Do you see that? That's why I taught you nervous system. Question normally come out on it. So now what's the function of cerebellum? The cerebellum of the brain controls. So what does it control? Is it the reflex action, muscular activity, emotional expressions, endocrine system? So what does it control? Oh yeah, well, I'm expecting you. You can see I taught you this, so I will not even touch much about it again. I've taught you anything I've taught you. I will not talk much about it again. So it actually helps in what? Muscular ability activity. I taught you very well. It helps in maintaining balance, posture, and controlling motor learning. So it also helps in all those coordinating voluntary movements. So now the part of the brain responsible for peristalsis. Peristalsis. What's the meaning of peristalsis? That's the first thing you need to firstly ask yourself. Peristalsis. What's the meaning of peristalsis? So peristalsis is like you is the movement of muscles that line your GIT. For example, when you swallow food now, you notice that your food is going on its own. So it's actually by the process of peristalsis, right? So now you can see that it's actually an involuntary action. So when I told you that there's something that is involved with the function of what? Involuntary action. Now, which part of the brain is now responsible for that thing? So the part of the brain responsible for peristalsis is what? The part of the brain responsible for peristalsis is now what? Is it the olfactory lobe? Is it the medulla oblongata? Is it the hypothalamus? Is it the thalamus? You know, I told you medulla oblongata, it has to do with involuntary action. So of course, that will be our answer. I think you guys are getting this logic. This thing is not hard. Just know how they work. You can see that they don't ask the question direct, right? They will not ask you direct. No one expect anyone to be asking you direct question. Especially when you gain admission, no, you notice that. So don't let me scare you. So which of the following instruments is used for measuring atmospheric pressure? That's very simple. Now when you are not in secondary school, but that's just barometer. So temperature is used for. So thermometer is used for measuring temperature. In case you missed it, hygrometer is used in measuring relative humidity. So I taught you this also. You can't deny it. Hydrometer is used for measuring hydrometer. You know the difference. So hydrometer is different from hygrometer. So hydrometer is used for measuring relative density. So the influence of soil on organisms in a habitat is referred to as what? So is it edaphic factor or physiographic factor? Is it biotic factor or a topographical factor? So what's the answer? Yeah, what's the answer? The influence of soil. So the answer is edaphic factor. So that's the influence of soil on an organisms in an habitat. Now the genetic makeup of an organism is described as, you know, I taught you this: allele, chromosome, phenotype, and genotype. What's the answer? That's genotype. You can see that all the things I taught you, live and direct, they're just coming out. That's the genetic makeup of an organism. So please, as you are using your past question, please don't cram the answers in the past questions. Most of those answers in the past questions are so wrong. So please, as you are reading, try to make your research about the answers. Please, very well. Very important. Don't just rely on past questions, right? The answers are normally wrong, right? They are normally wrong. So don't depend it at all. So the genetic makeup of an organism is. So yeah, so let's continue. So number 29, the major limiting factor of productivity in the aquatic habitats is a food, temperature, water, sunlight. So what is the major limiting factor? That is, what are the things that limits the major limiting factor for productivity in the aquatic habitats? The major, is it the food? Is it temperature? Is it light or sunlight? Is it water? Or of course, you should know that they shouldn't lack water. We're talking of aquatic habitats here. So the major limiting factor, please, the answer is actually except. So it is actually except. The major limiting factor in the aquatic habitats include the following: except. So it's actually except. Is it food? Is it temperature? Is it water? Is it sunlight? Of course, water cannot be a problem in aquatic habitats because they are even inside water. So water cannot be a problem. So that's why it is except. So that's why the answer will be your water. Because the limiting factor is an environmental condition or resource that restricts the growth of or abundance. So the major limiting factor will be food. Then we have temperature. The major limiting factor will be it cannot be water, right? So, but food is going to affect. Temperature also is going to affect. Sunlight is going to affect. But there are some regions in the water that sunlight cannot reach. So that's why we go for except. So which of the following group of organisms feed directly on green plants? I told you anything that feed on green plants is producer. Anything that feed on green plants is what? I told you this under food chain. You can see that we really deal a lot of topic. So I taught you aquatic habitat too. All these genotypes too I taught you. So I've touched some important aspects. So anything that feed on producer, I call it their primary consumer. Anything that feed on primary consumer is secondary consumer. Anything that feed on secondary consumer is the what? Is the tertiary consumer. Anything that feed on tertiary consumer is what? PhD abi. Don't say PhD. Is decomposer like that. Maybe decomposer. So decomposer. So now anything that feed on, so they now say the organism that feed on directly on the green plant, so it's primary consumers. So a characteristic feature of tropical rainforest is that. So what is the characteristics? So they said they have total annual rainfall of less than. This can never be the answer. So we are talking of rainforest, that place that have a large number of rainforests, it cannot be this. So they contains fewer number of plant species. I'm not sure that will also be, though they have presence of tall trees. So tall trees. So and their rainfall is so much that I taught you all those things too. So I taught you. So you cannot say yes, sir, you don't teach us. But I taught you too. Where was the answer? I want this video to be a little bit interactive. That's what I'm trying to. So if you are watching this video live, so I want you to just drop your comments anytime you are watching this. So is it that it contains narrow trees, leaves, or contains large number of plant species, or it contains a large number of plant species, or it contains fewer number of plant species? So of course it cannot contain fewer number of plant species because we are talking of tropical rainforest. It has a very high number of rainfall. So of course it cannot be having fewer. So and also cannot have trees with narrow leaves. So the answer is contain large number of plant species. So now the next one is the study of how and why population size change over time. Is it population estimation? Is it population dynamics? Is it population ecology? Is it population cycle? This I only taught you population. I did not teach you all these things. That's why you need to solve past questions some of the times, because no one will teach you this, because it's not even most of your textbooks, right? So that's why you need to solve past questions, and that's why I told you. That's why I normally tell you guys that you should try to solve past questions, right? So the answer here is just population ecology. So that's the answer. Or population dynamics, to be precise. Population dynamics. So that's the answer. Population dynamics. That would be your final answer. Not population ecology, sorry. So population dynamics. So now a severe and long dry season is a characteristic feature of, I told you Sahel savanna. They normally have a very, even they are almost deserts. They are almost, I'm not saying they are deserts, they are almost deserts. Those northern parts of Nigeria. So they have, even most of them, they actually do irrigation so that they can have a lot of water to plant there. And the thing is, people in the northern part, they're actually very hardworking, because their place is not a little bit, they have a very low rainfall, but yet most of the food we eat in certain parts, some tomatoes, some peppers, it's actually made there. So you'll be wondering that how did these people manage to make them? So it's because they are actually so industrious. So it's severe and long dry season is a characteristic feature of what? Sahel savanna. So which of the following is a nitrogen fixing blue green algae of soil? So is it the rhizobium? Is it the nitrosomonas? Is it the clostridium? Is it the nabaena? So what's the answer? So please, I'm still telling you, don't cram the answer of the past questions. Their answers are not always correct. You may be solving some past questions and you end up seeing that about 10 questions in that video, in that past question you are solving, about 10 questions is wrong. So how will you manage that now when you are cramming it? So that's why you need to know what you are doing. And for those of you that are not reading and you want to just sit down and we want to do jam, and you want to sit down and be solving past questions only, you are deceiving yourself. So which of the following is a nitrogen fixing blue green algae of soil? So the answer is anabaena. So that's the answer. So that's the answer. So anabaena are actually known for their nitrogen fixing abilities. So it's actually a genus of filamentous cyanobacteria that exists as plankton and forms a nitrogen fixing symbiosis with azolla to fix nitrogen in the presence of good amounts of oxygen. So if you want to know more about that, you can make your research on it. So a soil with high water retaining capacity. I told you that clayey soil, it's actually the highest. We have 3 types of soil: the loamy soil, the clayey soil, and we have the sandy soil. I told you the soil that is good for farming is the loamy soil. The ones that has the highest water retaining capacity is what? Clayey soil. So, and it's the highest weight. So highest weight. So clay soil, that's because of it retains some water in its body. So those water will form part of its density. So hence clayey soil, they are not easy to cultivate vegetation on. While sandy soil, it has low retaining capacity of water, low water retaining capacity, lowest retaining water capacity, and it is not so heavy, so it is light. So while loamy soil is like a combination of clay soil and sandy soil, we have some loamy soil that have high percentage of clay soil than in sandy soil. We have some that have more sandy soil than clayey soil. So the answer is the one with highest water retaining capacity is what? Is a clayey soil. Now, I did not teach you about disease too. Please, I want you guys to go and read on diseases. They normally ask questions on it, please. Go and read it. Go and read it. You know I'm saying it. Go and read it. So I think I should give you some overview for some diseases. So the causes, now what causes polio? What causes polio? Poliomyelitis. Before we go to that one, I want to give you some overviews. As diseases also come out. So I'm trying to know all those parasites. I think I taught you that already. Endoparasite, ectoparasite, I taught you that. So, and also know all those type of farming, crop rotation, organic manure, all those things. I think you know them in agriculture, right? Or you don't do agriculture in secondary school. Oh my god. So please try to read them. Alright. Okay, I think I've seen what I'm looking for. So I'm looking for, okay, I want to quickly give you some overview. So poliomyelitis, this is a bacterial disease. So it's actually, we have some diseases that are viral, we have diseases that are bacterial, we have a lot of them like that. So please, these are things you need to know. So hepatitis now is actually viral. We have virus hepatitis. We have salmonella now. Salmonella is actually a foodborne disease. Salmonella is a foodborne disease, food and waterborne disease. We have bacterium now. So cholera is caused by bacteria, which is fibro-cholera. Typhoid is caused by bacteria, which is salmonella. Is caused by, that is the causative organism. So polio is actually by virus. It's caused by virus. So it's a viral disease. So the answer is virus. But let's continue. So we also have dysentery. Amoebic dysentery is caused by, you hear the word amoeba, and you know that amoeba is protozoa. It's actually caused by protozoa. We have food poisoning, sort of bacteria. So tuberculosis is bacteria. Measles is virus. Pneumonia is bacteria. Meningitis is bacteria. So it's actually airborne. Please try to know the airborne disease, waterborne disease, foodborne disease. So smallpox is a viral disease. So common runny nose is also a virus. So influenza, not influenza. So influenza. So it's a virus disease. So then German measles is also virus. Whooping cough is bacteria. Chicken pox is also what? Is also a viral disease. So please, my system is, let me try to. So we are almost be done. Okay. So I think I've done some. So malaria now is caused by plasmodium. Now malaria, some people normally make some mistake. I think I talked about that in that Jam Biology 2022 I gave you. So malaria is the causative organism is plasmodium. But we ask you that what is the vector that carries malaria? That's when you say female anopheles mosquito. For some people, if we ask them causative organism, they will go and be saying female anopheles mosquito. Female anopheles mosquito is not the one causing the sickness, but it's only a carrier. It's only carrying it, right? So it's not all the female. It's just a vector. And what are vectors? They are the organisms that carry what diseases and infects the host, right? So that's just is the vector. You can try to read on vector. We have vector for, what's the vector for malaria fever now? That is female anopheles mosquito. What's the vector for sleeping sickness? That is tsetse fly. And what is that? What's the causative disease for sleeping sickness? That is actually trypanosome. That's the causative organism, right? So that's it. So what of plague is caused by rat flea. So we also have typhus fever, that's rickettsia. Then we have dengue fever, that's virus. It's caused by female Aedes mosquito bite. We also have yellow fever. So what causes yellow fever? Yellow fever is actually caused by a male yes, male Aedes mosquito bite. That is, so it's just the vector, but the causative organism is virus, but the vector is a male Aedes mosquito, and it actually infects man. So we also have river blindness, which is also called onchocerciasis. Please, all these things they may ask. So yellow fever, virus, so it infects man. So know the symptoms, know the thing. So we also have some disease like gonorrhea now. So it's actually caused by sexual intercourse, and the causative sickness is actually bacteria. We also have syphilis. Syphilis is also caused by bacteria. It's also through sexual intercourse. So bacteria also, it's also a bacteria. Then AIDS, people that normally have sexual intercourse and blood transfusion, injection needle, so things like that. So virus is also a virus. Then staphylococcus, that's bacteria. And also please try to read on microorganisms around us. So try to know the shape of organisms, that is shape of bacteria. Bacteria, they have some shapes. We have some bacteria based on their shapes. We have types of bacteria on the basis of oxygen. We have aerobic bacteria, we have anaerobic bacteria, we have facultative bacteria, we have bacteria on the basis of their shape. We have the cocci. So under cocci we have the streptococci, staphylococci, diplococci, we have the bacilli, so which are rod-like bacteria. We have the fibro, so those ones are the ones that cause cholera. We also have the spirillate, so please try to read them. The protozoa, the fungi, the algae. So and try to read on culture solution too. So please, that's just it by the way. So let's continue. So we are now in question 37. One of the ways of controlling noise pollution in urban area is by siting industries away from residential areas. Fuel should be completely combusted by engines. This should be for air pollution, but we are talking of noise pollution, not air pollution. This option B is for controlling air pollution. Option C, by planting trees on both sides of the road. This one also is not really applicable. Option D, wearing ear device. So what do you think would be the answer for controlling noise pollution in urban areas? Is it by siting industry away from residential areas? So the answer is siting industries from away from residential areas. That is, the industry are far from humans. They are far from residential area where people are living. So the noise will not affect people's ear. The constituent of the exhaust fumes from electricity generating sets, which causes serious pollution, is what? That is, a constituent of the exhaust fumes from electricity generating sets, which causes serious pollution, is what? What is that thing? Is it carbon dioxide? Is it water vapor? Is it ozone? Is it carbon dioxide? Something that we call electricity generating, that is generator. And I told you about this, that generator, some of the time, especially small generator, it produces what we call the carbon dioxide, which is carbon monoxide, which causes blood poisoning, right? It's so bad that once a person mistakenly inhaled that thing like this, that person will die. There's no remedy for that thing, that gas. The person will die. So it is because it was serious pollution, and that thing is death. No other thing. Once you mistakenly inhale it like this, that person will die. So that's carbon. So that's where you see some people. News will say that people they own generator and they sleep, and they said all the family died. So this is what happened. This actually what caused it. Is this bad gas, which is called carbon monoxide or carbon dioxide. So which of the following is true of smallpox? I told you smallpox is virus disease. So now they say it is transmitted by bacteria. Wrong. It is effectively controlled by antibiotics. It can be effectively be controlled by vaccination. Yes. So you cannot use antibiotics because it's actually not bacterial disease. So they said it's a waterborne infection. Is it waterborne infection? Smallpox. Is it? You can see now. That's why I told you should read on all those diseases. You can see how they ask it now. If I don't show you now, you don't see the question now, you don't know that it used to come out. So of course they ask it to. So please try to read on it. All those liver fluke, right? Read on it too. Read on them. If any question can come out on that aspect. All those food preservation, pasteurization, those organic manual, read on them. So, smallpox, is it waterborne disease? Oh yeah. Is it waterborne disease? So it's not waterborne disease. Smallpox is airborne disease, not waterborne disease. So it means option A is not right because it's actually virus, not bacteria. And something that is not virus, you cannot use antibiotics for it. Antibiotics is used for bacterial infection, so it cannot be right. So it's also not the waterborne disease. So the answer is it can be fairly controlled by vaccination. That's why in times of coronavirus, they told us that we should be taking the COVID-19 vaccine, right? So in which some people actually took. So let's continue. A pollutant that is mostly associated with acid rain. So what's that pollutant? So now I told you when I was teaching you that aspect, I think in physics or chemistry. Okay, in chemistry. That for something to cause acid rain, it means that thing is an acid anhydride. Right. So now look at all the options given to you. Which of the following is an acid anhydride? So the answer is nitrogen with 4 oxide because NO2. When you add it with water, it will form 2 acid. HNO2, HNO3. So these are the things that will come out in forms of acid rain. So that's what we say. The pollutant that is mostly associated with acid rain is nitrogen 4 oxide. So when the adults have reached a certain degree of weakness, the process of binary fission is replaced by conjugation in which plates? Is it the paramecium? Is it in the euglena? Is it the amoeba? Is it the plasmodium? So what's the answer? Oh yeah. What's the answer? So all these things you have to just know them. So the answer is what? Paramecium. So when they are adult cell, when they have reached a certain degree of weakness, so what they are going to be, they are not going to, I told you paramecium, they normally undergo binary fission, just like amoeba. But when they get to a particular stage, they won't undergo binary fission again. They will be replaced by conjugation. So number 42. Now wolves. Now I did not teach you this under genetics, that we have different types of fingerprints. Now there's something you need to know about fingerprints. Fingerprint is unique for everyone. So my own fingerprint, even if you are twins, your fingerprints are different. Now we have what we call types. We have variation. I told you variations, there are differences that we have in people, right? And we have types of variation, right? We have the morphological variation and physiological variation, right? We have what? Morphological variation and we have the physiological variation. Now they normally ask for another name for morphological variation. So morphological variation is also called continuous variation. Continuous variation. Why physiological variation is called discontinuous variation? Please, I did not teach you this aspect, but just go and read on variations and evolution if you are using essential. So now what can we say about morphological variation? So morphological variation is like some things that you can see with your eyes. For example, now morphological variation like heights. There are some of you that you are short, that even everyone, a person that is blind, we know that surely this person is so short. Some of you, we are so light in complexion that people will think you are albinism, right? While some of you, you are so dark that people will even we almost run away from you. So those features, they actually what morphological. That is something we can see, we can observe. Your physical appearance, that is the way your mouth is. Some of you, your mouth is so big. Some of you, you are so tall. Some of you, you have a finger. So fingerprint also is part of morphological variation. So please, example is very important in biology. So fingerprint, please don't mistake fingerprint uh, for kineo. So please, they are different. So fingerprint is morphological variation. So size of various parts of the body, the weight also is morphological variation. So in terms of plants, plants, that one would be their color of plants, so things like that. Now, why physiological variation is also called what? Discontinuous variation. So they are the things that, like, they are the behavioral things. So physical variation involves like behavior. Now, for example, now people that see you now, some of you are a gossiper, you be talking back about your friends. People that firstly see you, they will not know that so this person have anger issues. They will not. But after living with you, sometimes they will know that this boy is so stupid. As time goes on, they will know that you are so foolish. As time goes on, if you are wise, as time goes on, if they firstly see you, they will not know that you are wise, right? But as time goes on, they will know that you are wise, right? What of if you are calm too? When people see you, for example, now when I was in school, when people see me in the school board, they will think that I'm a very gentle person. But unfortunately, but one day they say, Evans will not talk, they will not say anything. He's very calm in school, but when we get to school like this, Evans will start talking. That boy is not gentle. That's what they will say, because they just saw me. So it's physiological variation. I think you understand what I'm saying now. So something like you are excited. So all those things, when you are intelligent or if you are stupid. Another thing about it is ability to roll the tongue. When people see you, they cannot know you can roll the tongue until you roll it, right? So ability to roll the tongue is also a physiological variation. Now, ability to close one eye and keep the other open is also part. I will not be able to write that. Ability to move the ears without moving the mouth, the head. So there are some people that have that part, that ability. So some people cannot close one eye and open the other eye. Though me, I can do that one. Even though I may not be able to move one ear without moving my head. And some people also, they have the ability. Please, they normally write it so. Ability to taste a chemical substance, which is called phenylcarbamide. What do we call it? Phenylcarbamide, which is called PTC. So please, they normally ask you. So some people, they have ability to taste this chemical in its dilute form, in which it is bitter. Why to others it may be tasteless. So another one is differences in blood group. So when we are talking of blood group, it is people that see you now, can they know your blood group? No, they cannot see it. So it's a physiological variation. Fingerprints. I'm sorry, fingerprints should not be in this aspect because I've talked about. I think fingerprints is in both physiological and morphological variation. But normally, I'm kind of surprised that fingerprints is there. Maybe due to the shape of fingerprints or things like that. So fingerprint is not only in morphological then. So fingerprint is still also in the. So that's the reason why I even come to this aspect. So we have different types of fingerprints. So types of fingerprints. So we have the arc, we have the loop, we have the whole, we have the compound. So these are the 4 types of fingerprint that we have. So if you get to an institution, they will give you some other ones. So but for your level, we have 4 fingerprints. So if you want to know how the diagram looks like, you can go to online to get the images. Because of our time, I'm not going to draw it. There is a diagram for it. So that's just about variation. So please try to read on that aspect too. So I think I'm done with that aspect like that. I'll be able to teach you the variation. So an application of variation, it helps us in crime detection. blood transfusion, and also it helps us in determination of paternity. It also helps us in medicine. So it also helps us in agriculture, classification of human race. We have what we call the people that we call the Caucasoid. It's actually this variation that make us to know who are the Caucasoid. They are the people that they are light skinned, people from the Europeans. So they are light skinned, they are the people in Europeans. Then we have the Negroids. You'll be surprised that people who are in the Negroids. So people we are the black Africans. So we are what? The Negroids. So we also have the Mongoloids, not Mongoloids. So Mongoloid, they are the yellow brown skinned people with straight hair and moderate broad skin. So those are the Chinese and Japanese. So those are the Mongoloid. So of course we also have the Australoid. So Australoid, people in Australia. So Australoid, Australoid. So I think that's just by the way. So I'm done with that topic, which is variations and evolution. But if you want to know more about it, just go there and learn it. So they now say which whorls, arcs, loops, and compounds. There are types of variation in what fingerprints. That's the answer. So a couple has 10 children. Now look at this. All of them are females. I told you when I was teaching you that it is probability. So where the following best explains the situation. The sex determination was by man's X chromosome. The man's sperm count is low. That's wrong. Not that the man's count is low. It's because the man is actually, the man actually has XY in his sperm. So the man may be releasing only X to the wife. And I told you the wife, it is what you give the mother that the mother will collect. You give the mother X, you give back to a female child, right? If you give the mother Y, you will give back to a male child, right? So it is what you give. It is what they have one adage that is called, it is what you sow that you reap, right? What you sow is what you reap. So that's just the same thing. So if the father gives a what will I say? If the father gives the S chromosome, it will be a female child. If the father gives the Y chromosome, it will be a female child, a male child. So the woman is not capable of producing. The woman is not the one that is producing the male children. So it's wrong. I told you that those people that normally send their wife out, that why isn't that their wife is not able to give them a male child? They don't know what they are doing. So now the sex determination was by the man's Y chromosome. Of course, the man did not release the X chromosome. That's why the woman keep giving back to that's why the woman keep giving back to female. So that the answer should not be B, it should not be C. So the answer is A, because the man is only releasing the X chromosome. The man is not giving Y chromosome, and that's why the woman is giving back to. I told you that the woman is XX. So the woman cannot determine the child. So and man has XY. So the man can either release X, the man can either release Y. The man release X, the woman will give back to female child. If the man release Y, the woman will give back to a male child. So but look at it. The reason why the woman give back to 10 children that are female is because the man keep giving X, 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 and that's why they have 10 children and all of them are female. So that's the reason. So it's a game of chance. So a biological agent with antiviral property is, what's the answer? In the time of coronavirus, they talk about some things that we should be using. So you should be able to know the answer here. So a biological agent with antiviral, antibiotics is antibacterial, right? So don't go and be saying antibiotics. What's the answer? A biological agent with antiviral property. What's the answer? Is it interferon? Is it enzyme? Is it antibiotic? Is it disinfectant? So what do you think would be the answer? Is it interferon? Though we did something like that in medical school, sha. Talked about in under humanity, we did interference. Talk about it. Oh, yeah, what's the answer? So you have to, what are interferons? So I think I taught you enzymes, right? So interferons, they are family of signaling proteins produced by cells in response to viral or other infections. So interferons is the answer. So they are the one that they have actions about antiviral property. So I told you we did something like that in under immunity in school. Okay, what was the disinfectants? What's the function of disinfectants? So it's a chemical substance, often a chemical. So disinfectants is not used for only one thing. You can use disinfectants to kill microorganisms like bacteria, viruses, so specific, right? Fungi on inanimate objects, surfaces, right? But interferon is specific, right? You can use it. So one of the disadvantages of outbreeding is that it leads towards disease resistance, because you will be able to produce organisms that are more resistant to disease, and they are going to survive more than inbreeding. That you are, I taught you the reason, the meaning of inbreeding and outbreeding. So you don't need to say I teach you again. So an individual with blood group AB can receive blood from those in blood group. So I told you, okay, I've not taught you this. That AB is actually what? Universal acceptor. What does it mean by a universal acceptor? AB can receive blood from, we have 4 types of blood group. We have AB, we have AB, we have A, we have B, we have O. So O is a universal recipient, donor rather. AB is the universal acceptor. Now this is the logic. AB can receive blood from oh my god. AB can receive blood from A, can receive blood from B, can receive blood from AB, can receive blood from O. So all these 4, you can receive blood from them. Why this universal donor? It can give blood to all of them. It can give blood to itself. It can give blood to AB. It can give blood to B. It can give blood to A. So it's not specific, right? It can give blood to any of these 4. Do you get? So that's just it. I think you get it now. That's just it. So now they now said, so it's actually universal. Now A, who can A give blood to? A can give blood to itself and AB. Do you get? B can give blood to only itself, right? It cannot give blood to A. It cannot give blood to B. Don't go and say because it is AB, you now say it can give blood to B. A, it can never. It only give blood to itself. Do you get? O also can only give blood to itself. It cannot receive blood from A. It cannot receive blood from B. It cannot receive blood from AB. And that's why people with O negative, some of the time, they find it difficult to get their blood, and some of them even die in the case. Some of the time they will even send for people. I'm medical school. They just send for them. We are looking for this type of blood. Or if you have this type of blood group, quickly send it. So that's it. Their blood is so rare. So, and I think I'm O positive. So I'm O positive. I'm not supposed to tell you my blood group, but don't worry. I'm O positive. I'm not so negative. So okay, an individual with blood group AB can receive blood from A, B, AB, and O. So yes, it's a universal acceptor. They can receive blood from anyone. Now, the streamlined shape of fishes is an advantage for what? Easy movements. I told you this in adaptation. That the reason why fish has a streamlined shape is for easy movements. Now, number 48. An example of a poikilothermic lizard. Still say the answer. An example of a poikilothermic organism is a? The answer is lizard. I told you that reptiles. What is poikilothermic animals? Organisms. They are the cold-blooded organisms, right? I told you that we also have homeothermic. I'm not so sure of the spelling again. So this is our warm-blooded organisms. So human beings now, we are homeothermic, that we have a constant body temperature. So but that of the lizard is they are cold-blooded. Their temperature is not constant, right? So they are cold-blooded. So example is what? Lizard. So bird is actually homeothermic. For those rabbits, they are mammals. So they are homeothermic. So and the last one, the last question for today before we call it today. All living organisms are constantly involved in the struggle for existence. This was proposed by. Now, I've not taught you this also. So there is theory of evolution that people don't really believe in. Yes, it's because it's full of heresies. So we also have social animals. Please, guys, make sure you read all those honeybee social things. So we have what we call organic revolution. So I think I should teach you that. So organic evolution is defined as the sum total of adaptive changes from pre-existing or old forms that have taken place over a long time, resulting in diversity of forms, structures, and functions among organisms. So this theory is talking about, for example, their belief is that life begins from water, right? That we start from the aquatic organism. As time goes on, we evolve. I think you guys have already learned that in primary school, secondary school rather. So we have some evidence of evolution. What are those evidence? The first evidence is evidence of fossil records. Fossil records. So what they are saying is that there are some scientists through the isotope we are able to determine the age of the heart, the age of some from the oldest to the youngest. So they notice that the rock is more old, things like that. All those heresies. So number two, geographical evidence of geographical distribution. So that's the second evidence of evolution. So those one, it's proved that living things, they tend to show some variations in form and structures and functions. So in relationship to differences in climate. In other words, no two types of the same climate produce the same type of plants and animals that have some resemblance. So organisms of one climate tend to differ slightly from organisms of the same climate after several years of isolation. So another evidence is evidence from comparative anatomy. That is, they look at the structure of the certain vertebrate. They look at their development. That their development, they actually look similar. Another one is their structure rather, it looks similar. And also another one is evidence of embryology. They notice that when the fish, their development is actually when they are developing in the womb, it is similar to that of human being. So you can see that, and it's also similar to chick also. So they notice that. So that's why they said. So another number 5, evidence from vestigial organs. We have. Please take note so that human beings, we have some vestigial organs. What do we mean by vestigial organs? That is organs that are minute or incomplete organs, that they don't have no special functions. So those are vestigial organs. For example, appendix now. We don't use appendix in our body, so it's a vestigial organs. Why in some organisms, those things are actually important. Another vestigial organs we have in our body is the tail. Do you know that human beings actually have a tail, but it's actually not really useful? So it's also vestigial organs. Another one is evidence of domesticated organism. So domesticated organisms. So it is known that specific domesticated animals like cats, dogs, hens, they have lived with humans for many millions of years. So they have gone through several stages to become what they are today. So we have two theories of evolution. We have the Lamarck's theory of evolution. So I think all of you know what we call Jean Lamarck. So it's the one that gives us a particular theory that if the reason why the neck of zebra is actually long is because zebra is eating something that's very very long, and because the zebra is now stretching for his arm, so his edge, so it's actually, no, not all the theory of Lamarck is actually wrong, and that's why we call his theory law of use and disuse, and that's why his theory is actually called what? Law of use and disuse. So it's actually a theory proposed in the year 1801, right? So what are the things? He said that great changes in environment result in corresponding changes, so in species. It also says that these changes cause the organism to form new structure or habits to adjust to the new prevailing environment. He also said that the organisms that then develop specialized character by use and disuse of organs. So he now says these frequently used organs become well developed, while the ones that they are not used degenerate and become atrophied or useless. So he now said the well developed or dominant acquired characters, they are now what? Inheritable. So actually, now Lamarck now used the long neck of giraffe. He used it as an example, and that's why the scientists they later disregard his theory that's actually used, and this is not applicable. Why we say that the reason why zebra is actually long is because the giraffe, rather, the neck of giraffe, it's it's long because he stretched for his end. That's why it's actually, so that's not applicable. So that's why. So let's look at, so another person that actually worked on evolution, and that one is actually accepted, is Darwin's theory of evolution. So it is accepted by scientists. And what does he say? So it's actually in 1801, 1859 rather. So now theory is also called Darwin's theory of natural selection. So what does Darwin postulate? He says that the species, they have the ability to produce large number of offspring into environment with limited resources. For example, now look at Nigeria. We have like 200 million Nigerians, right? We are too much. Even USA is like fighting the same population with us, and USA, they have what? More resources than Nigeria. Even they have more land area than Nigeria. For Nigeria, we are too much. So now it says that the species, they have the ability to produce large number of offspring into environments with limited resources. Now in Nigeria, now we don't have much resources. So it now says that this process will now lead towards competition by this offspring. It now says that the survivors must have inherited the useful traits. Then they now reproduce and pass on these traits to their offspring. So the same thing in Nigeria. You see some politicians, they are so rich, or some people like doctors, some lawyers, they are so rich, they are so popular, or some comedians, they are so popular. If you notice them, some of them are enjoying, right? When they give back to their children, also would continue enjoying it. So that's what this theory is just talking about. That so that's just, so then they reproduce and pass on these good traits to their organisms. Why those ones that could not survive, people that could not survive in Nigeria, what happened to them? They die off or they are eliminated. So there is great variability with population. I'm just using that one example. Don't count me wrong. So not everyone will die. We will not die in Jesus' name. So that there is a great variability with population as this process continues through many generations. That the population gradually became better adapted to the environment, leading to the origin of new species. So Darwin's theory is actually accepted. So, but that of Jean Lamarck, though they accepted some, but not everything. So I think with this, I'm done with organic evolution. So what's the answer? They now say now struggle for existence. You know, I told you that Darwin talked about a struggle for existence, which is the author. He said there's limited resources, so there will struggle for existence. That people that survive, they're going to pass their good traits into their offspring, right? So that is actually Darwin postulates. Now number 50, adaptive radiation is illustrated in adaptive radiation is illustrated in. So what's actually what's the meaning of adaptive radiation? That's the first thing you need to please. You have to know how to interpret question. So what is adaptive radiation? So adaptive radiation is a rapid evolutionary diversification where a single ancestral lineage evolves into a variety of descendant species, each adapted to different ecological niches. So that is adaptive radiation. They now said adaptive radiation is what is illustrated in. So where is it illustrated? So adaptive radiation is illustrated in A. Modified insect mouthparts. B. Dentitions in mammals. C. Wings in birds and bats. D. Appendages in insects. Yeah, what is the answer? So the answer is modified insect mouthparts. That's the answer for the adaptive radiation. So I think with this we are done with the question. 2014 UTME biology. So if you are watching this video on my YouTube channel, I will urge you to subscribe. So please share the video to your friends that are doing UTME in